and welcome to Winging It. We're doing deck evaluation today in Arkham Horror, the card game. As you know, I haven't posted in a while. It's because Mrs. Winging It and I have gotten extremely busy. We've got a kiddo in high school, we've got two in middle school, one in elementary school, and we've been embarking on second careers in taxi service. Just driving around, doing crazy stuff, supporting our kids, and we've been playing Arkham, but we just haven't had a chance to record Arkham or edit it or, put all the effort, that I've been accustomed to putting in for quality videos. So we've just been playing. We finished that campaign. We've marked on another campaign. I've let her play Amanda a little, which is something that's new to her. Amanda's become my favorite investigator. If you've watched the channel, you know that. And of course, we've been looking at the Scarlet Keys, getting excited about that. Scarlet Keys, there's been a bunch of spoilers that have been posted by different content creators. And of course, we have some drops from FFG. Even MJ has posted some stuff for us. So it's been really cool following all the information. And we've been talking about decks we might want to play and investigators coming up for the new expansion. But anyway, I actually found this deck of cards from Mrs. Winging It, and I thought, well, this looks like it looks like it's all Seeker and Rogue cards and some neutrals back there. So I figured, well, it's got to be a Trish deck, right? So let's take a look at this, and I know she enjoys playing Trish, so let's take a look at this deck and see what we think and see what she's put together. So first card is an ally, art student. And this is, it may not necessarily be great in Trish because it gets you a free clue, but man, you don't have to take a test. It's just, you put her down, get a clue. Not a bad card. Okay. Of course, the classic Dr. Milan Christopher. This is from the core. Classic, just get money. This is, Mrs. Winging It doesn't play Taboo, and so he doesn't exhaust. You just keep, getting resources. That's great. Okay, this is a new card, Jeremiah Kirby, right? He lets you say a number, and then you can draw cards and get cards. So it's just basically card draw when you put them into play. So a really great, put them into play effect. And well, lab assistant. This is a lot of allies. Wait, and research librarian and medical student and Gregory. This is all allies. Are there any events in this deck? Red Glove Man and a Caslo. I don't really understand this deck at all. Okay. We got Charisma. That's probably a good card to have in here. Wait, what's this? I don't think I've seen this card before. What is this? This is... Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, so apparently this isn't a deck at all. This is apparently... She was going through our email and she found this card sent to us from FFG, and apparently we get to do a spoiler. So that's pretty cool. And these are cards that relate to this new card. So yeah, let's take a look. How exciting is this? We get to spoil a card on Winging It. So here's your card. This is called Hit and Run. Okay, it's fast. You play only during your turn. Put an ally asset from your hand into play. At the end of your turn, if that asset is still in play, return it to your hand. It costs 1. It's got a combat agility icon. And let's see, can I see this? It is card number 66 for those who, pay attention to such things. Wow, well that's a cool card. You know what it makes me think of, actually, right, is, and here it is. Imagine that. It's Sleight of Hand, which does the same thing except for items, and that's been around, like, forever. So we now have a sleight of hand for allies, but it's called Hit and Run. Oh, that's nice. It's Chuck Fergus on the art. So how cool is that? We can see more of his beard. I mean, more of Chuck Fergus. So, all right. Well, cool. So let's take a look at some of these allies. I'm looking at this card and I'm thinking, well, what allies would you want? I mean, it's you have to pull it back to hand when you're done. Like what? How's that good, right? I mean, don't you want your allies to stay into play? But you could look at cards that don't exhaust or have come into play effects, right? Oh, and that's we got okay. So let's look at Art Student again. Yeah, so Art Student, you just get a clue. So this is you put her into play, you get a free clue, and it's fast. Just spend 1, put her into play, get a clue, and the next turn you can put her into play again and get a clue. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. And then we've got, oh, okay, Dr. Milan Christopher, right? He doesn't exhaust. I mean, the Taboo version doesn't, but if you're not playing Taboo, man, you could just put him into play. If you don't, one of the hard things about playing Dr. Milan is, he gives you resources, but he costs 4 resources to begin with. So you could put him into play, do 3 investigates, get your resources up, and the next turn you'd be able to play him. Well, that's great. Okay, well this quote unquote deck is making more sense now, isn't it? Well, Jeremiah Kirby, of course, he has the put into play effect to draw some cards. So you put them into play, draw the cards. Then next turn you can put them into play, for real, get more cards. Oh, that's fantastic. Lab Assistant, similar deal, although she draws you less potential cards depending on how your deck is constructed. So, but obviously very cheap to get her into play without the card, but it's still fast. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so Research Librarian, okay, also has a put into play effect. Lets you go and search for a tome. So that's nice. You need to get a tome. You can just go find it. Search your whole deck. You do it with a hit and run. Okay, Medical Student. Yep, she comes into play. Heal horror and damage. Man, that's some horror healing. Some fast horror healing. That's not too shabby. All right, we got Gregory Gray. This is actually the first card that comes to mind when you think about hit and run, right? Because one of the problems with Gregory Gray costs 3 to put into play, and then you get those resources off. But if you could put him into play fast, get all 9 resources off him with 3 tests, and then play him the next turn, oh man, that's a huge money-making card. The fact that he doesn't exhaust. Okay, good old Joey the Rat. Well, this would be some jank, wouldn't it? I don't take sleight of hand. I'm gonna put Joey the Rat into play and then use his free trigger to slight some things in. So you could get both cards in one with Joey the Rat. So that'd be fun. Now Joey the Rat, the upgraded version. Well, that would be cool because you could actually sell off items and buy new items, and he's and then next turn you could put him into play and do even more. So this is a little bit probably better target for hit and run than the lower level version. Okay, well if you're playing Bless and then hit and running in the Priest of Two Faiths, we just put 3 Bless tokens in the bag. I mean, that's for 1 resource cost, that's better value than Keep Faith. So pretty nice. And of course you get a little bit of soak out of it. Okay, the Red Gloved Man. He's already fast, but you could play him at the end of your turn, bring him back to hand, and then next turn play him fast again. You could just recur him for days, and he gives you that effect of, boosting your skills to 6. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so Anna Caslo. Oh, she would do it as well. She can, you can go search your deck for tarots and then put them in your hand. Now, of course, you don't want to put them in slots because she'll be going away. But you could still get it all set up and then put her into play next turn and get more tarots. That's interesting. All right, now, Hired Muscle. Well, now that's kind of weird because you really wouldn't want to play Hired Muscle with sleight of hand because, Hired Muscle is already 1 and fast. So being able to put him 1 and fast isn't that strong. So why would we even look at Hired Muscle? Maybe because it's like related or, you know what I think it is? Actually, and Treasure Hunter is the same, right? We have both of these cards. But I think that if you're building your deck around the idea of, putting allies into play quickly and then dropping them, these cards may not work. They may be a nombo with hit and run, but they're probably cards worth considering in a deck that's using that kind of strategy, right? Because if you're going to have an open slot to be able to put an ally in and take them out, these guys might slide in really well. So that's a good thought. Okay. Obviously, Charisma. You want to take this if you're going to be putting allies into play and then taking them out. I mean, that's just a clear cut. Definitely going to put Charisma in there, so that makes sense. And finally, we have this Calling in Favors, this is interesting because it doesn't let you use the second half of Hit and Run, which is pull the card back to hand, because it's already going to do that for you. But you could hit hit and run in an ally, use calling in favors, pull that back to hand, and then play that ally again next turn. So it's a way to get maybe a different ally into play, and of course that ally would stay in play because this card says if that ally's in play, you pull it back to hand, but the card that you could calling in favors, get to stay in. So that's a cheeky way to get a card from your deck into play. So this is pretty cool. At first, I was only thinking Gregory Gray, but the more I thought about it, I did a search on Arkham DB to look for cards that don't exhaust, and those are all the ones I came up with. Or allies that don't exhaust. There's a few other cards you might consider. Cards like Beacop level 0 doesn't have an exhaust. You can slide him into play and then discard him for a damage. That's kind of not really great value. There's like Brother Xavier, who, you could get the willpower boost, you could get some soak, and he's really expensive, so getting him into play would be nice. And of course, there's all kinds of cards that do exhaust, and you can get the one-time effect, and it just might be worth it, right? Put Lola Santiago into play, and then, get the effect from her to buy a clue or whatever. You could put Chuck Ferguson into play because he's on the art. Gives you one, nice effect, so not too bad. But that would be cool. So anyway, yeah, a lot to look at here. There are, I'm sure, a lot of other cards. I'm interested in what you guys might have to think of as a way to use hit and run. And, if there's any like big cards that I missed going through this. But yeah, so that's hit and run. Big thanks to FFG for sending me this card and letting me preview it for you guys. I hope you enjoy it. And I will see you next time on Winging It.